Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to our episode. This is just a continuation on the world of investment. So today we're going to look at understand the power of compound interest. So in the case of compound interest, it's like your investment earns interest and then you earn interest on your interest. So it is like getting more interest return on your interest. So it's like an endless loop, really. Trying to do what the banks are doing, so playing the same game as them as well. So first of all, we're going to look at the basics of compound interest, trying to define it really. Second, we look at the time is your best friend. So in this case, time will be your best friend. Third, we will look at the rule of 72. We're going to understand what does that means. Fourth, we look at the compound interest in different investments. Fifth, it will be inflation and compound interest, so showing the relationship. Sixth, it will be on how to maximize compound interest. And then after that, I'm going to give a quick summary, just as I usually do in all the episodes, just to sum up really in all the episodes, trying to understand what we learned. So are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Tighten your belt and let's begin. Understand the power of compound interest. So we said in the case of compound interest, your investment earns interest and then you earn interest on your interest. An endless loop, continuous loop. So compound interest is one of the most powerful concepts in finance, and understanding how it works can significantly boost your investment success. So once you understand how it works, it will significantly really boost your financial, like your investment success as well. So you gain more knowledge. So it is like taking a short way in this case. So at its core, compound interest is the process of earning interest on both your initial investment, which is a principal, and the interest that accumulates over time. So you have like an accumulation over time, or exponential really increases over time. So this creates a snowball effect. Imagine on a snow. So if you have a small ball, when it starts rolling, it getting bigger and bigger. So where your money grows at an accelerating rate, so that is how we want your money growing at an accelerating rate or exponential really. Having a straight line instead of going ups and downs like fluctuations in marketing. First point, we're going to look at the basics of compound interest. The basics, the foundations of compound interest, how it works. So unlike simple interest, which is calculated only on the principal or initial investment amount, compound interest is calculated on the principal plus any previous earned interest. This means that your investment grows faster as time goes on, so exponentially really. Example, so I have to throw some practical example there, just in case you might get lost. I always focus on practicality in all my videos really. So example here, like if you invest, let's say 1,000 euros, I'm going to use euro, not dollar or pound, at an annual interest of 5%. After the first year, you would earn 50 euro in interest. So you invest like 1,000 euro at an annual interest of 5%. After 1 year, or the first year, you're going to earn like 50 euros in interest. So in the second year, that would be like the first year. Now we go in the second year, you would earn interest not just on the original 1,000 euros, but also on the 50 euro interest earned in the first year, leading to 52.50 euros in interest. So 52 euros and 50 cents on the top as the first year and the second year combination. Compounding frequency, we're still on the basics of compound interest. Compounding frequency, like the frequency with which interest is compounded, can affect the overall growth of your investments. So look at the frequency really. In the case of frequency, it is directly proportional, similar to vibration. So this will be like the frequency, can be up and down the sine waves. So interest can be compounded annually, semi-annually, or quarterly, monthly, or even daily. So it depends really. So the more frequently interest is compounded, the faster your money will grow as well. So the more frequency it is compounded, the faster your money is going to grow. I have to throw a quick example there, a practical one. So compounding quarterly versus annually at the same interest rate will result in high interest returns over time because interest is calculated more often. So the benefit of compounding interest here, it is like once you the interest is calculated more frequently, the more the interest is calculated more frequently, the more your money is going to multiply or accumulate over time. Second, we're going to look at the time is your best friend. So it's all based on timing in the case of compounding interest, really. So the magic of time. So the earlier you start investing, the more time your money has to be compound. So the earlier you start, the more your money has to be compounded. So it's like forced karma, forced served. And the larger investment can grow. The more your money is compounded, the larger your investment will grow as well. So even small contributions made consistently over time can result in substantial growth thanks to the power of interest or compounding. Even when you have just a small amount of money invested, it will return like a substantial growth thanks to the power of compounding. A quick example. So if you invested, let's say, 5,000 euros at the age of 25 with an annual return of 7% by the age of 65, your investment could grow to nearly 75,000 euros when you are 65. So if you wait until, let's say, age 37 to start investing the same amount, you only have about like 38,000 euros by the age of 65. So in that case, you have like 10 years gap in between. We're still on the time with your best friend. Delayed gratification. So the longer you leave your money invested without withdrawing it, the more you will benefit from compound interest. So simply leave your money in your investment account instead of being too impulsive and start withdrawing every time. So the more you leave it, the more it actually accumulates. So don't withdraw it yet. Just leave it inside your investment account. So the more you'll benefit from compound interest. So this is why it is essential to start as early as possible and remain patient. You have to put more emphasis is actually put on patience when it comes to investment, because you have to focus on the long term, not only the short term in this case. More patience is needed. So allowing investments to grow over time. So simply give it more time to grow over time in the long term. Number 3, we're going to look at the rule of 7-2, like doubling your investment, or the rule of 7-2. So simple calculation. Let's say the rule of 7-2 is a quick way to estimate how long it will take for your investments to double, like given a fixed annual rate of return. So by dividing 7-2 by your annual interest rate, you can get an approximate number of years needed to double your money. So whatever years, maybe 12 years, you can take that, maybe divide by 7-2, something like that. So that's like the rule of 7-2. So a quick example. So if your investment earns, let's say, a 60% annual return, it will take approximately 12 years. So that would be like 72 divided by 6. It gives you 12 years estimation for your investments to double. So it will take you 12 years if your investment earns at 6% annual rate. You simply apply the 7-2 rule, and so you can get estimation, or approximately like 12 years for your investment to start doubling, really, in the case of compounding interest. Use it for goal setting as well. You can use it for goal setting. So this rule can help you set realistic financial goals, the 7-2 rule, and understand the impact of different interest rates on your investments. So it's actually good as well to help you to understand realistic or set realistic financial goals as well, and try to understand any impact, any effect really in the long term, or in the case of different interest rates on your investments. Number 4, compound interest in different investments. So in the case of investments or financial investments, we might talk about stocks, bonds, the ETFs, the exchange traded funds, or we might talk about mutual funds, cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, Ethereum. All of those are like the investments, or real estate, just like assets really. So compound interest in different investments, so saving accounts and CDs, or CD simply stand for CD in this case. It just stands for certificates of deposit, C for certificates, D for deposit, CDs. In the case of saving accounts, that's just based on liquidity. So when it comes to financial, we say money is water. Money is water. So in that case, we call money liquidity. So we have currency or current flow. They're all related really. They're like similar. So saving accounts, they're simply related to liquidity. So in this case, like traditional saving accounts and certificates of deposit, the CDs, offer compound interest as well, but typically at lower rates. So the saving accounts and certificates of deposit that offer compounding interest but typically at lower rates, more lower rates again, which is good advantage for us, advantages in our case. So while it's safe, the growth may be minimal compared to other investment options. So in this case, it's like trying to compare stocks with bonds. So in this case, it is safer, but the return is low as well at the same time. So you get minimal compared to other investment options. Like for example, the saving accounts and CDs, certificate of deposit and deposit. So a quick practical example here. So a saving account with, let's say, a 1% annual interest return or interest rate compounded monthly will grow slowly, then higher yield investments, but still benefit from compounding. So the 1% annual rate will simply grow slower than the other, like compared to other high yield investments. Stocks and bonds. So the compound, we're still on the number 4, compound interest in different investments. We're going to try to compare between the stocks and bonds. So in the case of stocks, it's like high rates, high return and high risk as well. In the case of bonds, you have lower return and lower risk at the same time. So the reward and the risk are simply balanced here in this case. So stocks and bonds. So while stocks don't directly offer compound interest, the reinvestment of dividends can create a compounding effect. So even though the stocks doesn't offer like a compounding interest, but if you get dividends from new stocks, that can create like compounding effect. So in the case of dividends, we just say this is just share of profits and return earnings that company pays off to shareholders or its owners. That's the definition of dividends. So bonds, particularly those that reinvest interest payments, also benefit from compounding. But in the case of bond, this is good. So if you reinvest, that like the ones which pays interest payments, in the case of bonds, you benefit from the compounding effect or compounding interest. A quick example just to clear your misunderstandings. So reinvesting dividends from a stock that pays, let's say, 3% annually will allow those dividends to earn returns over time, in resulting like boosting your overall investments, which is good. Retirement accounts as well. In this case, it is like the US tax advantage accounts. So it's all about retirement accounts. So it's like a link to the IRS, which is like the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, US citizens. That's the example which I'm going to use. So we have tax advantage or tax benefit in the case of retirement accounts. So it's all linked on investment really. Retirement accounts. So tax advantage or benefit. Retirement accounts like the IRAs, which stands for individual return account or individual retirement account, IRAs, and 400k are ideal for compounding because they allow your investment to grow tax-free or tax-deferred over decades. So in this case, you have more advantage really in the case of individual retirement accounts. You need that as well in the case if you old age want to retire, and of course, or your own investments. You have to think about that as well. To have an individual retirement account or the 401k. So a quick example of that will be like a regular contributions to a 401k combined with employer matches, and compounding can lead to significant growth by the time you retire. So that would be like in the case of 65 or 60 years. So the 401k, just like in this case, it is like a qualified profit sharing plan that allows employees to contribute a portion of their savings to individual accounts. There's the 401k. It's just a qualified profit sharing plan that allows employees to contribute a portion of their savings in individual or to their individual accounts. So number 5, we're going to look at the inflation and compounding interest. So their link or the relationship between inflation and the compounding interest. So the real versus nominal returns. So while compounding interest helps your money grow, it is important to consider inflation. You have to think about inflation as well. So what is inflation? So it's just the rise of price over a given time or period. There's the inflation as well. So inflation erodes the purchasing power of your money over time. So your real return after adjusting for inflation may be lower than your nominal return. So you have to consider about that as well. You have to keep that in mind. So for example, a practical example, if investment earns, let's say 5% annually, but inflation is 2%, your real return is only 3%. So take 5 minus 2, you have 3%. That would be like your real return at the end. However, compounding can still outpace inflation if you invest wisely. So in this case, compounding will come as your backup really to boost or outpace inflation. Number 6, we're going to look at how to minimize compound interest. How to maximize the compound interest. We don't want to minimize, we want to maximize it really to get the full benefit from the compound interest. Start early, that will be the first advice. The earlier you start, the better. So the earlier you start investing, the more time compound interest has to work in your favor. So we want the compounding interest to work in our favor, not against us. So even small contributions made early can lead to significant growth over time. Even small one is still growing, but to grow exponentially really, to grow rapidly, like to keep accumulating over time. So in this case, like a quick example, like let's say investing 100 euros a month, starting at age 25 versus age 35, can lead to a much larger nest egg by retirement due to extra decade of compounding. So there's like a difference. You can start maybe at 25 years or 35 years, 10 years gap, but you gain some benefit from it really, because the earlier you start, the better. Investing consistently as well, consistently, like repeatedly instead of stopping, consistently, investing consistently. So regular contributions, like doing regularly over and over and without getting tired or bored about it. In this case, it is like based on automation. In case you might forget, you just allow it in your investment accounts to be automated monthly really. So regular contributions, even in small amounts, can help maximize the benefits of interest or compound interest. Like automating your investments can ensure that you contribute consistently without missing opportunities. So in this case, they're putting more emphasis. You have to put more emphasis on the automation, really automated payments, like in your case of investment account. So just pay automatically. You set maybe 50 euro, 100 euro monthly. A quick example to be like setting up automatic transfers to your investment account every month to ensure that you are consistently adding to investment accounts, allowing compound interest to work continuously. We look at the retirement earnings as well, or reinvest earnings. You just reinvest the earnings. Whatever earnings you get, you reinvest it back again. So like we saw in the dividends. So whether it is dividends from stocks or interest from bonds, reinvesting your earnings instead of withdrawing them allows your investment to grow faster due to compounding. So in the case of dividends, we say this is just a share of profits and retained earnings that a company pays off to its shareholders or the owners of the company. A quick example, like opting for a dividend retirement plan, the DIPS or DRIPS, in your stock investments automatically reinvest the dividends, accelerating growth. 2, we're going to look at the minimize fees. So we're still on number 6 on how to maximize compounding interest. So minimize fees as well. You try to balance which one is higher, which one is lower. So you go with the lower one. So minimize fees is all about doing your own self-research as well, doing research and all of that, trying to balance which one is doing better. So investing fees can erode or disrupt or affect the benefits of compound interest. Choose lower cost investment options like the index funds, with the video which I just did in the last time, which I did previously, like the index funds or the ETFs. ETFs simply stand for exchange traded funds, to keep more of your return working for you. So you don't want the return to work against you. You need them to work for you, because you have to you have to minimize the fees and look with the lower cost interest or index funds to invest in. So a quick example, it will be like a 1% fee on a mutual fund may seem small, but over 30 years, it can significantly reduce your overall returns due to the compounding effects of fees. So even 1% is annually still good in the case of mutual funds. Like imagine over 30 years, you're going to save so much really to reduce your overall returns due to the compounding effect of fees. So what can you say in conclusion really, ladies and gentlemen, about the power of the compound interest? really it's like increasing your investment exponentially, not just it's like doubling really the increases accumulation of your wealth or investments. So I think it's like you have to, like the things which you have to consider, you have to go for the lower price one, like the low cost index funds, like the ETFs as well, or mutual funds. So ETFs just stand for exchange traded funds, which are good for the lower cost. So try to avoid really the higher fees ones at the same time. And you have to look at the dividends. So whatever you get paid from the company, you reinvest again back. So simply you having the profit, or you're having the return, the interest return from the whatever profit you get. Your interest gains more interest, so making money out of interest again, so which means you're not actually contributing anything special. It's simply investing back your dividends in the same company, on the same investment, on the same asset classes of your investment. The asset classes can be stock, bonds, the ETFs or index funds, or the mutual funds. So what can we say in conclusion on the summary, ladies and gentlemen? So compound interest is often called the eighth wonders of the world. That is why they're called the eighth wonders of the world, because there's an exponential growth over time. So it is called the eighth wonders of the world for a reason. So by understanding how it works, starting earlier, as like 25 or 35, that would be good. And you're investing consistently, which is good, like over time, continuously. You can harness the power of compounding to grow your wealth significantly over time. So if you keep all of those, like, you have to understand that how it works. You get yourself acquainted with the knowledge. You start early as well. You reinvest consistently. You're having automated payments like to investment accounts. You can harness the power of compounding. You can get the benefit of compounding interest and grow your wealth significantly over time in the long term. So whether you are investing like in saving accounts, like liquidities, saving accounts, or any cash, stocks or retirement funds, the key is to let time and compound interest work in your favor. So just let the compound interest work in your favor. Whether you're investing in saving accounts, stocks, or retirement funds, you just let the compounding interest take care of the rest. So the sooner you start, the better or the bigger the impact will be on your financial future. So the sooner you start here, they put more emphasis on time as well. So don't keep waiting for the right time or wrong time. The right time does not exist. They say time brings good as well as evil, or evil as well as good. So the earlier you start, the better. So ladies and gentlemen, just as we began, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, keep sharing the video, share more to more people, really, to reach more people. Like, comment, and I'm ready for all your comments, really, on investments or business related or financial world, the investment world. Thanks so much. Ciao.